I would rather be homeless than live with a narcissist again.
Why?
Because living with them feels like being trapped in the deepest, darkest dungeon of hell. Nothing feels comforting or homely in what is supposed to be your sanctuary. Instead, you feel imprisoned, surrounded by monsters, constantly waiting for the day of your escape. Welcome to my channel. The focus of today's episode is the 5 ways a narcissist turns your home into a living hell. Number 1. They are either hoarders or obsessed with cleanliness. Narcissists tend to operate in extremes, and their relationship with material possessions reflects this dichotomy. On one hand, many narcissists exhibit hoarding behaviors. Narcissists are fundamentally addicted to control, and material objects often become an extension of that control. They buy and accumulate things not out of need, but out of a desire to fill an internal void. Their homes may be filled with boxes, random gadgets, old newspapers, and things that serve no practical purpose, but hold some value in their distorted sense of self-worth. The environment becomes cluttered, chaotic, and suffocating, leaving no room for peace or even basic order. Despite the clutter, they often refuse to clean up after themselves, leaving the mess for others to deal with. If you confront them about the hoarding, they'll accuse you of being unsupportive, controlling, or nagging. They'll turn the tables, making you the problem rather than their excessive accumulation of unnecessary junk. Meanwhile, they expect you to live in the chaos without complaint. It becomes yet another tool for them to manipulate and dominate you emotionally. And the irony? If you misplace the tiniest item, like putting a cup in the wrong spot, they'll explode, accusing you of being disorganized and unclean. On the other hand, some narcissists are obsessive about cleanliness. They may present themselves as hyper-minimalists, where everything in the house must be spotless, ordered, and perfectly arranged. But this isn't about cleanliness for the sake of comfort. It's another manifestation of their need for control. They will throw out things that are precious to you, regardless of sentimental or monetary value, without asking for your consent. Their cleanliness is just another way to dominate and disregard your feelings. Number 2. The house has a heavy, dark energy. Have you ever walked into a home where the air feels so heavy that it's almost suffocating? That's what living with a narcissist feels like. There's an undeniable sense of dark, negative energy that lingers in the house. This isn't just a feeling of being unwelcome. It feels almost supernatural at times. The air is thick with tension, dread, and fear, making it difficult to feel at ease. There's no relaxation in a narcissist's home because it feels like a spiritual or emotional battle is taking place at all times. This heavy energy has both psychological and spiritual explanations. Psychologically, the constant trauma, manipulation, and tension that the narcissist creates alters the emotional climate of the home. Trauma bonds develop, and your brain starts to associate your home, your supposed place of safety and refuge, with pain, betrayal, and suffering. Over time, just stepping into that environment can shift your mood. You may enter the house feeling fine, only to immediately feel anxious, depressed, or even physically ill. From a spiritual perspective, many people believe that narcissism is linked to dark, demonic forces. Narcissists drain the emotional and spiritual energy of everyone around them, much like psychic vampires. Their constant need for control, their lack of empathy, and their manipulative behaviors seem almost inhuman. It's no surprise that people feel a profound sense of evil or darkness when living with one. In my experience, living with my narcissistic family felt like being in a haunted house. I had frequent nightmares, often involving demonic or shadowy figures. Sleep paralysis was a regular occurrence, where it felt like a dark presence was sitting on my chest. Once I moved out, all of these experiences disappeared, leading me to believe there's more than just a psychological explanation to the heavy, oppressive atmosphere of a narcissistic home. Number 3. A profound sense of loneliness. Even though you may live with people, the sense of isolation in a narcissistic household is profound. This loneliness stems from the lack of authentic connections. Narcissists are not capable of real, empathetic communication. Everything is transactional to them. Whether it's between a parent and child, spouse and partner, or even siblings, Narcissistic families don't build connections based on mutual love, respect, or trust. Instead, interactions are filled with manipulation, control, and performance. In a narcissistic home, there are distinct roles: scapegoats, golden children, enablers, and flying monkeys. Everyone is placed in a box, and genuine, heart-to-heart conversations rarely, if ever, happen. You hide behind a mask, constantly pretending to be someone you're not just to survive. Even when you're surrounded by your family, you feel completely alone. The emotional and psychological abuse leaves no room for vulnerability or authentic connections, because showing your true self invites criticism, ridicule, or even more manipulation. This sense of isolation is especially devastating for children growing up in narcissistic homes. They never experience what it feels like to truly connect with their parents or siblings. As a child in this environment, you quickly learn that emotions, whether positive or negative, are dangerous. You bottle up your feelings, retreat to your room, or develop coping mechanisms just to survive the emotional starvation imposed on you. The house may be full, but emotionally, it feels like a void. Adding to this isolation is the fact that narcissists repel others. Friends and extended family members tend to distance themselves over time, seeing the dysfunction within the home. Over time, this isolation becomes suffocating, leaving you trapped in your emotional prison. Number 4. The home is filled with terror. Living with a narcissist means living in a state of constant hypervigilance. You can never let your guard down because you're always trying to anticipate their next outburst or manipulation. Narcissists thrive on keeping you on edge, and the atmosphere in the home reflects that. It's like living in a war zone. You're always bracing yourself for the next attack, whether it's verbal, emotional, or psychological. You become an emotional thermometer, attuned to every small sign that might give away their mood. The sound of their footsteps, the way they open a door, or even their facial expression becomes a signal for what's coming. If you sense anger or irritation, you start walking on eggshells, trying to avoid triggering their rage. But no matter how hard you try, something always sets them off. It could be something as trivial as leaving a dish in the sink or forgetting to turn off a light. This state of hypervigilance has long-term effects on your mental health. Your nervous system becomes dysregulated, constantly activated in a state of fight or flight. Even in moments of calm, you can't truly relax because you're always waiting for the next storm. Over time, this leads to sleep disturbances, anxiety, and chronic stress. It's no wonder many people who escape narcissistic homes have PTSD or CPTSD. Celebrations, holidays, or special occasions are often ruined because the narcissist will find a way to create drama. The terror that hangs over every moment in a narcissist's home leaves you drained, both emotionally and physically. Number 5. Financial instability. Money is another tool that narcissists use to control and manipulate. Regardless of their financial status, narcissists create instability because they see money as a means of power. If they are the primary breadwinner, they will lord that power over you, making you beg or justify every penny you spend. Even if there's plenty of money, the narcissist will make sure that you feel dependent, trapped, and unsure about your financial future. If you earn money yourself, the narcissist will still find ways to control it. They may demand a portion of your salary or accuse you of being irresponsible with your spending. Every financial decision becomes a battleground, leading to constant fights and stress. In some cases, narcissists create financial chaos by overspending, accumulating debt, or hiding money. They might spend recklessly on things they don't need while depriving the family of basic necessities. Or they might hoard money, refusing to share it with the family, making you feel like you're always on the verge of financial collapse. This instability keeps you dependent on them and makes it harder to leave because you're constantly worried about financial survival. Financial abuse is one of the most effective ways narcissists maintain control over their victims. Whether you're financially dependent on them or not, they will find ways to make you feel powerless, ensuring that money remains a constant source of tension and instability in the home. So, those are the 5 ways a narcissist can turn your home into a living hell. If this resonates with you, please share your experiences in the comments. You're not alone. If you find this episode helpful, share it with others who may need to hear it. Until next time, as always, stay blessed and irresistible.